Your mind is constantly shaping a version of the world before you even notice it. Your brain gathers pieces of information, fills the empty spaces, and turns them into something that feels complete and familiar. What you call reality is already processed long before awareness appears. Neuroscience shows that your perception is not a direct reflection of the outside world. It is a constructed interpretation built from prediction, memory, and pattern recognition. Your brain tries to guess what is happening so you can respond quickly, even when information is incomplete. Because your brain focuses on speed, it only allows a small part of incoming signals into awareness. It compresses everything else into a simplified version that feels stable. This shortcut becomes your experience, and you rarely question it because it feels effortless and automatic. This internal construction influences how you interpret situations and people. What feels obvious is often shaped by expectations your brain created years earlier. You react quickly not because you fully understand the moment, but because your mind predicts what the moment means. Two people can share the same experience, yet walk away with completely different conclusions. Their brains use different emotional histories, learned associations, and personal memories to decode what happened. Each person sees the event through an internal lens built over time. These internal patterns quietly influence what you notice, what you ignore, and how strongly you respond. When these patterns come from old emotional data, your brain may treat harmless moments as threats or misunderstandings as personal rejection. The mind defaults to what it knows. Your brain is not trying to create confusion, it is simply relying on familiar responses that once kept you safe or helped you adapt. The challenge is that these responses do not automatically update to match your current life. Familiar thoughts can feel true even when they are not accurate. When the internal architecture matches the present, it helps you navigate life with clarity. But when it does not, it can distort your beliefs and reactions. You may sense danger where none exists or feel limited by patterns that no longer reflect who you are today. By noticing how these patterns shape your experience, you begin separating what is happening now from what your brain is projecting. This awareness gives you space to challenge automatic reactions and choose responses that are more aligned with reality. In this video, you will explore why your brain builds its own version of reality and how this hidden architecture shapes your perception, emotions, and decisions. Understanding this system brings more clarity and helps you navigate life with a calmer and more aware mind. Your brain is built to decode the world using a massive network of neurons that fire in rapid patterns. These signals combine to form predictions, interpretations, and emotional reactions. Everything you experience begins as electrical activity trying to organize incoming information. Neural pathways act like highways that carry signals across the brain. The more a pathway is used, the stronger it becomes. This is why certain thoughts, reactions, or beliefs come faster than others. Your brain prioritizes what feels familiar because it requires less energy. When new information enters your senses, your brain does not process it from zero. It compares the data to stored patterns to determine what the moment means. This comparison happens automatically and instantly, shaping your interpretation before awareness has time to analyze it. Your brain relies heavily on predictive coding. This means it constantly guesses what will happen next, and then checks the real input to see if the guess was correct. If the prediction matches, the brain accepts it. If it does not, the brain adjusts the model, but often only slightly. Much of your perception relies on shortcuts. Your brain uses memory to fill missing details, uses emotion to assign urgency, and uses stored beliefs to decide if something is safe or risky. These shortcuts make life easier, but also create blind spots you rarely notice. The limbic system, your emotional center, plays a major role in shaping interpretation. It reacts fast and powerfully to signals it considers important. This emotional activity can color your perception, making neutral events feel stressful or familiar situations feel unsafe. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex works as the brain's evaluator. It tries to give context, regulate emotion, and correct mistaken assumptions. But it often arrives late, because emotional reactions activate much quicker than logical processing. Your brain uses past events to shape current feelings. A tone of voice that once signaled conflict may trigger tension today, even if nothing is wrong. The brain sees patterns even when none exist, simply because it learned to associate certain cues with certain outcomes. These processes show that perception is a negotiation between prediction, emotion, and incoming data. You are not experiencing the world directly. You are experiencing what your brain decides the world means based on the information it already holds. Understanding this mechanism gives you more control. When you realize your reactions are built from predictions and old patterns, you can question them instead of accepting them as truth. This awareness becomes the starting point of clarity and mental stability. Your awareness is not the starting point of experience, it is the final layer. Before a moment reaches your conscious mind, your brain has already filtered the information, compared it to old patterns, and created a meaning that feels immediate and personal. You notice the result, not the process. Your brain takes raw sensory input and turns it into perception by combining it with memory and expectation. Awareness receives this combined output and treats it as reality. This is why some experiences feel crystal clear, even when they are heavily shaped by internal assumptions. Interpretation happens so quickly that it feels like truth. Someone's tone, expression, or silence can trigger emotional meaning even when the situation is neutral. The brain uses old emotional associations to decide what the moment represents. Awareness simply observes the meaning your brain has created. Awareness often feels accurate because it arrives with confidence. But confidence does not mean correctness. Your brain builds the story first and then delivers it to awareness fully formed. This is why you can feel certain about a situation even when your interpretation is incomplete or distorted. Perception is not only shaped by what you see, but also by what your brain expects to see. If you expect judgment, you are more likely to sense it. If you expect rejection, your brain will highlight cues that seem to confirm it. Awareness becomes the receiver of these predictions. Your emotional history plays a major role in shaping what enters awareness. Moments that resemble past experiences, even in small ways, can trigger reactions that feel present but originate from old emotional memory. Awareness does not know the difference unless you learn to observe it. The brain also edits reality by ignoring details that do not match its predictions. This can make awareness feel narrow, as if you are only noticing one version of the moment. In truth, your brain chooses which fragments to show you and which to hide. This selective perception feels natural because it is all you can see. Awareness becomes more accurate when you begin to observe this filtering process. When you question your first interpretation, you slow down the brain's automatic pattern matching. This creates space for a clearer view of the moment instead of a recycled emotional response. With practice, awareness can become a tool instead of a passive viewer. You can notice when your brain is predicting instead of perceiving. You can recognize when fear colors your assumptions, or when old memories try to define a new situation. This is the shift from automatic awareness to conscious awareness. In this video, you will learn how awareness helps you see the difference between your direct experience and the story your brain creates around it. Understanding this layer allows you to separate emotion from interpretation and move toward a more grounded, stable perception of reality. Mental patterns are the brain's way of saving energy. Instead of analyzing every situation from scratch, The brain stores reactions and interpretations that worked in the past. Over time, these shortcuts become automatic pathways that shape how you respond without conscious effort. These patterns form through repetition. Each time you react a certain way, the neural pathway behind that reaction becomes stronger. The brain learns that this response is efficient and keeps using it. Even if the pattern is outdated or unhelpful, the brain prefers it because it is familiar and fast. Emotional patterns are especially powerful. When strong emotions occur, they leave a deeper imprint in your neural network. This is why moments involving fear, embarrassment, or rejection can shape reactions long after the original situation has passed. Your brain remembers intensity more than accuracy. Once a pattern is formed, it becomes the lens through which you interpret new experiences. A neutral comment can feel critical, silence can feel threatening, and uncertainty can feel like danger because your brain is matching the present with stored emotional templates. The reaction feels immediate, but it comes from history. The brain creates these loops because they reduce cognitive load. If your brain already believes it knows what a situation means, it does not wait for the full picture. It activates the familiar pattern and produces a reaction. This is efficient for survival, but limiting for awareness. These loops can make you feel stuck, as if you are living the same emotional day repeatedly. You may notice the same fears coming back, the same thoughts repeating, or the same triggers appearing in different situations. This does not mean the world is repeating. It means your brain is replaying an old internal script. Some patterns start so early that they feel like personality traits. A tendency to avoid conflict, a habit of overthinking, or a fear of failing often began as emotional responses to earlier experiences. The brain kept them because they felt useful once, and now they run without being questioned. The challenge is that the brain cannot distinguish between what is helpful now and what was helpful years ago. It only recognizes what is consistent. This is why emotional reactions sometimes feel stronger than the situation requires. The brain is not reacting to the present moment, but to the memory of similar moments. Awareness becomes powerful when you can observe these loops in action. When you notice a sudden emotional shift or a familiar negative thought, you can pause and recognize that this may be an old pattern trying to take control. That pause interrupts the loop and creates space for a new response. In this video, you will explore how mental patterns form, why they feel so automatic, and how recognizing them helps you step out of old cycles. By understanding these loops, you can replace reactive habits with responses that are more aligned with who you are today, not who you were when the pattern first formed. Small changes in how you direct your attention can create measurable shifts in your brain. Even brief moments of awareness interrupt the automatic loops your brain tends to rely on. When a reaction slows down for just a second, new neural activity begins to take shape. This space is the foundation of cognitive change. Neuroplasticity explains why this happens. Your brain is always adjusting based on what you repeatedly focus on. When you bring awareness to a reaction, you weaken the old pathway slightly and strengthen a new one. These small adjustments accumulate and gradually reshape how you think. A simple practice is to observe one emotional signal before acting on it. Instead of reacting to tension or confusion, pause and name what you feel. This brief acknowledgement activates the prefrontal cortex, giving your logical system time to engage before the old emotional pattern takes over. Breathing techniques work for a scientific reason. Slow breaths send signals to the nervous system that reduce limbic activation. When the limbic system quiets down, your brain becomes more capable of accurate interpretation. A calm mind is not an accident, it is a biological state you can influence. Another powerful tool is redirecting attention. When your mind spirals into old interpretations, shifting attention to something neutral or physical disrupts the loop. It breaks the flow of neural energy powering the pattern. Each interruption weakens the automatic response. Your brain is also sensitive to repetition. If you introduce a new reaction consistently, even in small doses, the brain begins building a new pathway to support it. You do not need dramatic changes. You only need consistent, small corrections that signal your brain to update its model. Awareness of bodily sensations can also help. The brain uses physical cues to predict meaning, so noticing muscle tension or heart rate changes can reveal when an old pattern is activating. Once you notice these cues, you gain the ability to shift out of them rather than follow them blindly. Writing down thoughts is another neuroscience-supported technique. When thoughts move from the internal space to the external world, the brain processes them differently. This reduces emotional charge and increases clarity, making it easier to see which thoughts come from old patterns and which reflect the current moment. Visualizing a desired reaction strengthens the neural circuits for that reaction even before you use it. The brain treats vivid mental rehearsal as partial real experience. By imagining a calmer response or a more balanced interpretation, you begin building the pathways for that response in real life. In this video, you will learn how small, practical steps can shift your brain's architecture. These methods give you the tools to interrupt outdated patterns and create new pathways that support clarity, emotional balance, and a more accurate understanding of your experiences. Cognitive freedom begins when you understand that your mind is not only reacting to the world, but also reacting to its own architecture. Once you can see the difference between the moment and the meaning your brain creates, you gain the ability to choose how you respond, instead of following automatic patterns. Your reactions are powerful not because they are always accurate, but because they feel automatic. When you slow down and observe the pattern forming, you interrupt the chain that leads from prediction to emotion to behavior. This interruption is small, but it changes the entire direction of the reaction. Awareness lets you stand at the center of your mental activity instead of being pulled by it. You begin to notice how thoughts rise, how emotions shift, and how your brain tries to assign meaning to every situation. This clarity makes you less controlled by old patterns and more capable of shaping new ones. Cognitive freedom also comes from recognizing that thoughts are not commands. A thought is a signal from your brain, not a rule you must follow. When you see a thought as information rather than truth, you create space to evaluate it rather than react to it impulsively. Your emotional world becomes more stable when you stop treating every feeling as a final statement about reality. Emotions are meaningful, but they are also influenced by memory, fear, prediction, and habit. When you observe an emotion without immediately acting on it, the emotion starts to lose its power to dominate your behavior. Noticing patterns does not mean eliminating them. Patterns are part of how the brain operates. The real freedom comes from seeing when a pattern fits the moment and when it does not. This ability lets you keep useful patterns while releasing the ones that limit clarity and growth. With practice, you begin to identify the early signs of an old pattern activating. It may appear as muscle tension, a familiar thought loop, or a shift in emotion. Recognizing these early signals gives you the chance to choose a new action before the pattern takes over entirely. Cognitive freedom grows as you develop a flexible mind. A flexible mind does not cling to a single interpretation or old emotional response. It adapts, reevaluates, and remains open to what is actually happening. This flexibility is what allows you to respond with calm rather than react out of habit. As your awareness strengthens, you become less influenced by internal noise and more guided by the present moment. You begin to feel a sense of stability that does not depend on external circumstances. This stability is the result of understanding how your brain constructs reality and learning to work with that process consciously. In this video, you will see how cognitive freedom becomes possible when you observe your mental architecture without judgment. By noticing patterns, questioning predictions, and grounding yourself in awareness, you build a mind that is not ruled by automatic reactions, but guided by clarity, intention, and conscious choice. Your mind becomes truly integrated when you understand how perception, emotion, memory, and awareness work together. These systems are not separate. They operate as one network that constantly shapes how you experience life. When you see the connection, you begin to see why your reactions feel so real, even when they come from internal patterns. Integration means noticing that every moment is influenced by multiple layers of processing. Your senses bring in raw data, your memory offers context, your emotions add urgency, and your awareness tries to interpret the result. When all these layers combine, they produce the version of reality that feels true to you. This reality is not fixed, it evolves as your patterns evolve. When you challenge old reactions or question a familiar interpretation, the brain begins to update how it constructs your internal world. This is how clarity grows. You shape your mental environment by shaping your responses. Integrated awareness helps you notice the difference between who you were and who you are becoming. Patterns that once felt automatic begin to slow down, and you start to feel more in control of your internal state. This shift does not mean eliminating emotion. It means seeing emotion as part of a larger picture instead of the entire reality. A major part of integration is learning to observe thoughts without being pulled by them. Thoughts lose their intensity when you stop treating them as instructions. You begin to see them as signals generated by your brain, influenced by history, habit, and prediction. This perspective gives you more freedom to choose your next move. Your emotional landscape also becomes clearer. You start noticing which emotions are tied to the present and which ones echo old experiences. When you can separate these two, you respond with more accuracy. You stop reliving moments that no longer apply and begin engaging with what is actually happening. Integration also changes how you interpret the behavior of others. Instead of assuming someone's tone or silence reflects something about you, you become aware that your own patterns may shape the interpretation. This reduces unnecessary tension and helps create healthier connections. As your inner architecture becomes clearer, you gain a deeper sense of stability. You realize that clarity does not come from controlling the world, but from understanding your own mind. The more you understand how your mental systems work together, the more grounded you feel in moments of uncertainty. Integrated awareness is not a final state. It is an ongoing practice of noticing, questioning, and updating your internal model of reality. Every small moment of clarity strengthens your ability to step out of old loops and step into a more conscious way of living. In this video, you will learn how an integrated mind creates a more stable, accurate, and meaningful experience of reality. When perception, emotion, memory, and awareness work together with clarity, you gain the ability to navigate life with intention instead of instinct. This integration becomes the foundation for a more balanced and aware inner world. The more you understand the architecture of your mind, the easier it becomes to recognize which parts of your experience come from the world and which parts come from within you. Awareness is not about controlling every thought, but about seeing how those thoughts take shape. Clarity grows when you stop assuming that every feeling is absolute. Your mind is constantly creating interpretations, and when you can observe those interpretations, you create room for new possibilities. This is where real change begins. You now have a deeper understanding of how perception, prediction, memory, and emotion blend into your version of reality. With this awareness, you can step into moments with more intention instead of reacting from old patterns. If this video helped you understand your inner world a little better, consider staying connected. There is more to explore, and each idea builds on the last. Thank you for watching and for giving space to your own awareness. I'll see you in the next one.